Hello, I'm Paul Blanchard, and welcome to my podcast. Today, I want to play you a radio documentary by a journalist friend of mine. It is a detailed account of how I was working undercover for Spanish intelligence and how I gave them vital information about the 7/7 and Madrid bombings. I hope you enjoy listening to it.
The Madrid bombings. 20 years after the Madrid bombings, the Spanish people and the families of the victims should finally know the truth. The atrocities of the 11th of March 2004 could have been prevented. It was the worst ever extremist attack in Spain's history. A series of 10 coordinated bombs exploded inside 4 packed commuter trains travelling to the south of Madrid's city centre. The attacks killed 191 innocent victims and left almost 2,000 injured. Spain had never seen anything like this before. Every television station replaced its logo with the Spanish flag, draped in black ribbons. The entire nation was in mourning. These atrocities would become known as the Madrid bombings. José María Aznar, then Prime Minister, and his Popular Party immediately pointed the finger at ETA, the Basque separatist organisation, to bolster his chances of victory. However, a branch of Al-Qaeda soon claimed responsibility, and Aznar's blunder cost his party the general election. There have been many investigations over the years with no confirmed link to a supranational terrorist organisation. But now the victims' families and the world at large can finally know the truth. Spain's General Intelligence Unit have hidden the truth all along, and they can now be publicly named. They are agents Fernando Mor Munoz and Enrique Esteban. They have moved heaven and earth to hide the truth, telling lies after lies to the Central Investigating Court No. 5 in Madrid, who investigated these terrorist attacks. The story begins away from the world of terror in July 2001, when British offshore accountant Paul Blanchard reported his client, Lebanese businessman Mohamed Derba, to the authorities in Madrid for fraud and money laundering in Tenerife. Derba had swindled millions of euros from unsuspecting holidaymakers from all across Europe by selling them worthless holiday packages. Paul Blanchard was a specialist in setting up offshore companies for wealthy clients that legally provided ways of moving money to avoid tax. He had taken on a client in Tenerife, Mohamed Derba. What he didn't know at the time was that Derba had been the former right-hand man and enforcer for British gangster John Goldfinger Palmer, and was building his own criminal empire. Derba had the chief of police in Tenerife and many of his underlings firmly in his pocket, and could run his criminal organisation without law enforcement interference. His reach even extended from the police to Tenerife government officials in its capital city, Santa Cruz, and beyond into Madrid itself. Once Blanchard discovered that Derba was a serious criminal, he reported him to the highest authorities. And in November 2001, Spain's flamboyant investigator, Judge Baltasar Garzón, arrested Derba and 18 members of his gang. Blanchard signed his declaration before the judge, who told him he would be both a prosecution witness and protected witness, with his safety being of the utmost importance to the Spanish police. However, Blanchard would later find the Spanish documents didn't include this special status that would protect him. And as Blanchard had no translator or lawyer present, he didn't know that he was being lied to and signed a document that would not, in fact, protect him. In 2003, agents Munoz and Esteban recruited Blanchard as an agent for Spanish intelligence after he told them of a meeting at the Meridian Hotel in London with Asian businessmen. They had been interested in creating offshore companies to transfer money to Spain, significantly to be withdrawn in cash. Blanchard became suspicious when it became clear that Mohammed Khan, the leader of the group, was worried they'd been caught on the hotel's CCTV. At his next meeting with Munoz and Esteban in Madrid, Blanchard was told to infiltrate any suspected terrorist organizations, which he did successfully. This was highly dangerous undercover work, but the two agents had no concerns for Blanchard's safety. They would place his life in danger on numerous occasions. They encouraged him to infiltrate IRA groups, member cells of Al-Qaeda, Russian mobsters, and fundraisers for terrorist organizations. After infiltrating one terrorist group that placed Blanchard in danger, Agent Esteban spoke to Blanchard on the telephone. Here is part of the recording. "Perhaps we must set another, safer way of communication. We will do it. We must be very cautious now." They knew the danger they were placing him in. In October 2003, Mohammed Khan masterminded the theft of £375,000 from the NatWest Bank in Derby in the UK, and then transferred the money to Spain. It was all to be withdrawn in cash to fund terrorist activities. Munoz and Esteban requested Blanchard to stay close to the action. That October, Khan had amassed €10 million in cash for his terrorist brothers, and, via a corrupt Spanish lawyer in Marbella, was ready to launder the money to Dubai. During a phone conversation with Blanchard, Khan openly said the money was linked to Al-Qaeda terrorists. This shows how deeply embedded Blanchard had become, that those he was working with trusted him enough to be candid about their motives and aims. It also tells us just how valuable he was to the secret services. There is an important date in this calendar of events. It is the 16th of November 2003, 4 months before the Madrid bombings. Blanchard met Munoz and Esteban at Spanish intelligence headquarters in Madrid, where the money trail and Mohammed Khan's role was discussed in detail. Khan's concern, having been caught on the Meridian Hotel's CCTV, was paramount, but it was the reference and his links to Al-Qaeda and the €10 million which confirmed him as being the prime suspect in an active terrorist cell. In the war against terrorism, dirty money is the most dangerous weapon of all. Now the events move forward to 2004. When one of Khan's gang members was arrested by the police in Malaga in April 2004, Munoz instructed Blanchard to work with the police and examine the mobile phones and papers he was carrying when arrested. The documents included details of money transferred to Spain to be withdrawn in cash. There were names of other now-known terrorists and phone numbers. 2 names in the papers became members of the future London 7/7 bombings: Mohammed Siddiq Khan and Shazweed Tanweer. The events also led police to the door of the corrupt lawyer in Marbella with connections to launder the €10 million in cash. These events at Malaga police station, however, would change Blanchard's relationship with these 2 intelligence officers. Blanchard broke his cover to the Malaga police, which infuriated Munoz. On the telephone, in secretly recorded conversations, Munoz says, "Don't speak with other people about our issues, or about Mohammed or terrorism." Clearly, he says, "Don't speak with other people about our issues." Our issues. Terrorism. These recordings alone confirm Blanchard was their agent and working to uncover terrorism. What Blanchard became worried about, and rightly so, was that the initial stolen money had been from British-based banks, and the UK police were actively investigating those frauds. Worried he would be arrested by the UK police, Blanchard met Munoz and Esteban at Novotel in Madrid on the 17th of May 2004 to ask them to confirm his role with Spanish intelligence to the UK security services or the police. Munoz was in a foul mood. Munoz said, "The police in Malaga are asking difficult questions." Blanchard responded, "That might be the case, but there is an overlap of my activities in Spain to the UK, and my safety is at risk." Blanchard could tell by the body language of Munoz that he was unconcerned. Munoz started to play hardball, saying he would not speak with anyone from the UK. But Munoz was unaware he was being tape recorded. No, impossible. The relationship, it's not working, Munoz said. Then said they would deny any involvement with Blanchard. At the end we will. No, but not in the immediate future. We are working with you, but they, meaning the UK authorities, know nothing. They can know that you are a witness in the case of Mohammed Durba, but if the English police suspect our relationship, we'll take a break then. But note what Munoz was actually saying. They'll confirm Blanchard's relationship at some future date. At the end we will. That Blanchard was working with the Spanish police. We are working with you. There was a relationship. If the English police suspect our relationship. And note the "we are working with you" and "our relationship." But the important part of the meeting that Blanchard wanted on tape was that he had provided valuable intelligence prior to the Madrid bombings. Paul: Yes, but I tell you well before, us three only know this, in confidence I say, 2 or 3 months before the Madrid bombings. I tell you about the video, the evidence of Khan and his accomplice on CCTV at the Meridian Hotel. I tell you about other things. We discussed this. Esteban: I know. Munoz: Your actions, they, the Malaga police, have not heard who you are. At the end of the meeting, Blanchard handed Munoz a file containing all the events that had transpired at Malaga police station. This included his updated agent's report on Mohammed Khan, with the names Mohammed Sadiq Khan and Shazweed Tanweer. On the 9th of July 2004, Blanchard was arrested by the UK police for being close to the action of the events he was monitoring for Spanish intelligence. He told the police of his status with Spain's intelligence services, but the 2 officers denied his covert role. At York Police Station, Blanchard was interviewed by PC Andrew Blaine of Special Branch. He provided names of terrorists which MI5 confirmed were live names of interest to the UK security services. On the 22nd of July 2004, Blanchard faxed Andrew Blaine his updated agent's report, which included the names Mohammed Sadiq Khan and Shazweed Tanweer, 2 of the future 7/7 bombers. That was 12 months before the London atrocities. Later, on the 10th of May 2007, Blaine provided a witness statement to North Yorkshire Police, confirming he passed Blanchard's report to MI5. In September 2006, Blanchard was rearrested and charged with the events he was monitoring for Spanish intelligence. Believing Judge Garzon was honourable, Blanchard wrote to him and provided a dossier which included transcripts of phone conversations he had recorded without the knowledge of Munoz and Esteban, including how Munoz and Esteban had known about money transferred to Spain before the Madrid bombings. Garzon was in America when the dossier was lodged at the Central Investigating Court No. 5 in Madrid, so it was passed to Judge Santiago Pedraz Gomez. After he saw what had been expressed in the attached documents, he transferred the dossier to the District Attorney's Department with the objective that they give the court a proper report. That was on the 24th of October 2006. When Garzon returned to Spain, he was faced with a serious dilemma. Not only had he lost his star witness in the Durba prosecution, but most of all, he would deduce that the Spanish authorities had not acted on the intelligence Blanchard had provided before the Madrid bombings, which may have averted those atrocities. What loomed large was a politically embarrassing situation involving a UK citizen that had worked undercover at their behest, providing valuable intelligence on suspected terrorists in Spain 4 months prior to the Madrid bombings. There was more. Yet another problem was waiting for Garzon on his return to Court No. 5 in Madrid. The judge at Blanchard's trial in the UK formally asked the Spanish court to confirm his status. They not only denied his role, but also stated no Spanish police or intelligence officers had ever spoken with him on the telephone. That denial, despite Blanchard's phone records, detailing he made 72 phone calls to known Spanish intelligence numbers, of which 32 were recorded. Furthermore, those two agents had telephoned Blanchard over 50 times, asking for his help to nail Derba and for updates on his undercover terrorist activities. Garzon's dilemma was that Blanchard's statement, documents, and prospective evidence was central evidence Spain had against Derba and his associates. The only route left for him to take, therefore, was to charge Blanchard as a defendant himself. So the judge blatantly, unlawfully, joined Blanchard as a defendant to the Derba indictment on the 27th of December 2007. Blanchard's trial for the offences he was monitoring for the Spanish police was set for the 6th of February 2008. In the UK, Blanchard still wished to prove his cooperating status and his innocence before the UK court, in respect of the wider matters on which he had been assisting the Spanish police. Garzon's refusal to answer the UK court impeded that. In a bizarre twist, the telephone recordings which demonstrated the truth were misplaced by counsel then representing him. Blanchard was left defenceless, disbelieved, and had no alternative but to plead guilty. He was sent to prison for 6 years and 6 months as a result. Since his release in 2010, those tapes have been found in his former counsel's chambers and substantiate all that Blanchard says about his undercover work for and on behalf of the Spanish state. Blanchard could not afford to appeal his conviction because his assets remained restrained. They had been frozen since 2006 and remained so for the next 13 years. The judge remarked that his case had been the longest proceeds of crime proceedings in British history. Having to plead guilty for the offences he monitored for the Spanish authorities cost Blanchard over £1 million, and the restraining order over his assets wasn't discharged until the 4th of October 2019. Garzon's indictment against Blanchard in 2007 was later overturned by the Spanish appeal court in December 2009 for rank procedural unfairness, and, in relation to another matter, in 2012. Garzon was convicted and disbarred for 11 years for judicial prevarication. That indictment remains quashed. Without Blanchard's evidence and documentation against Derba and his associates, Spain's case against them had stagnated. The only remedy left was to extradite Blanchard to Spain as an accused to nail Derba once and for all. On the 2nd of May 2018, Blanchard was arrested at his home in York on a European arrest warrant issued by the Spanish courts concerning his alleged involvement with crimes carried out with Mohamed Derba and his gang, dating back 18 years previously, to 1999 and 2001. His extradition trial was before Judge Ikram on the 3rd, 4th and 5th of December 2019 at Westminster Magistrates Court. The trial was a farce throughout the whole proceedings. The prosecution did not challenge any of Blanchard's evidence. Judge Ikram reserved judgment. On the 29th of June 2020, Judge Michael Snow ordered Blanchard's extradition. His defence appealed that decision. On the 20th of May 2021, his appeal was heard before Lord Justice Singh and Lady Justice Steen, who reserved judgment. On the 30th of June 2021, Blanchard's appeal was granted. Judge Singh said the arrest warrant was incoherent and fundamentally defective, adding, "It is impossible for the reasonable reader to know for what offence or offences the applicant is to be extradited," he said. Blanchard had avoided extradition, but it was a hollow victory. The judgment he wanted was that there had been an abuse of process, meaning that was an end to any extradition proceedings against him. It wasn't, of course. but it would take over 2 years for the Spanish courts to reissue a revised extradition warrant. The warrant was signed by Judge Santiago Pedraz Gomez at the Justice Department of Court No. 5, National Courts in Madrid, on the 4th of April 2022, but wasn't served until the 24th of November 2023. Yes, the judge who signed Blanchard's extradition warrant is the same judge who saw what had been expressed in the attached documents in the Garzon dossier before he transferred it to the District Attorney's Department with the objective that they give the court a proper report. It's not rocket science either to work out the Spanish court's reasoning for passing the case to Judge Gomez. After all, he did what was expected of him, knowing Blanchard has to be silenced. He signed the warrant knowing full well all the lies that have been repeated over and over again by the two Spanish intelligence agents, Munoz and Esteban, and all the other Spanish officials that have no regard for the due process of law. Having reviewed the Garzon dossier and all the police reports, Judge Gomez knows Spain's entire case is based on corruption. Yet he still signed the warrant, knowing that the Spanish courts had dishonestly responded to a UK court's request for information that would have destroyed Spain's case from the outset. On the 24th of November 2023, Blanchard appeared again at Westminster Magistrates' Court after being served with their revised extradition warrant. A second trial date is listed for the 9th of September 2024. There are over 180 provably wrong statements of facts detailed in the Spanish court documents, or, in simple language, over 180 lies. In Blanchard's defence, the court will hear the covert tape-recorded conversations with Munoz and Esteban, and listen to recorded phone conversations of Blanchard and Special Branch Officer Andrew Blaine. Other defence tape recordings include Mohamed Derba confirming how he harboured Kenny Noy from Justice for the murder of Stephen Cameron, and how he controlled the Tenerife government. And when the chief of police in Tenerife told Derba they had enough evidence to arrest him for murder, they didn't, and instead came to his rescue. That tape recording will also be played at Westminster Magistrates' Court during Blanchard's extradition trial. The outcome of the trial in September will have massive implications for all the victims of the Madrid bombing, as well as for Paul Blanchard himself.